Hardcore druggies.
Smoking.
Bad breath.
Complaining or constantly on your phone taking pictures. Crusty feet.
They're not talking about the worst person to sit next to on the metro. They're talking about relationship deal breakers. We all have them. Some are more serious.
No physical chemistry.
Often religion is one.
Others, not so much.
Fat fingers.
If you haven't read Harry Potter.
Chew with your mouth open.
They may come up on a first date, while others don't rear their heads until later in a relationship. But deal breakers exist for everyone, and they're often what ends relationships.
It's much easier to find reasons it won't work than to try and make it work.
So what was it for me, the final deal to break a 9-year relationship?
I remember you had just moved into your current condo where we find ourselves now. Your girlfriend at the time, her mother had helped you move in, and while her stuff was still in boxes that her mother had just helped move in, you decided that your relationship of 9 years had come to an end. I think it was summertime. Anyone who heard that had to get a jacket. That was the coldest thing I'd ever heard.
There's a reason why you made that decision, and you can never, hindsight is 20/20. You can never look back.
Everyone wants to know why it ended, but with something so complicated, it's remarkably simple. I wasn't as happy as I thought I could be. I remember crying a lot that morning, holding my cat Charlie, riding a bike to Eastern Market, going to a new bar called Jack Rose, and then later that evening having my first one-night stand. It was the day that I became single, really for the first time. We met in journalism class. I was the editor-in-chief, she was the more skillful writer. I asked her to prom and she initially said no, then asked me. And that was the start of a relationship that went through different colleges, living at home with our parents, living together in Chicago and DC, where we inevitably broke up.
Coldest thing I'd ever heard.
It wasn't about cheating or distance or different life goals. What broke it off was a feeling that it wasn't what I wanted. So that was my deal breaker. Ending a relationship was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but starting one seems almost as challenging, given my extensive list of deal breakers. As I've dated more, it seems that my list has gotten longer.
Almost everything I made up to try and be a deal breaker.
Judaism used to be a non-negotiable for me. And finally, I thought to myself, why is that so important? I just want someone who can come to synagogue with me once a month and someone who eats my mozzarella soup. You don't have to be Jewish for that. It was this big epiphany.
When you get to my absolutely non-negotiable list, there really isn't that much. So then, why haven't I gotten to the point of calling someone my girlfriend in the past 4 years?
I think you grew a lot from that relationship, and maybe it makes you realize what you really want, right? And that's going to be a tough match within itself.
I think your last relationship was so significant, so meaningful, and you were with someone that you were so connected. It's just never going to go away. I mean, you guys are too much of a part of each other's lives.
You can make that your asset or your liability. If you say, you know, I was in a relationship for 9 years. I learned a lot about what it takes to be in a relationship and about myself. And I'm really excited to use what I learned in my next relationship. Doesn't that sound really positive?
Making anything survive for 9 years is no easy feat, and it shows that there's commitment in me. Somewhere. Deal breakers should show our dating evolution, not our closed-mindedness. They change as quickly as our experiences. The more people we meet, the more we discover what we like and what we don't. And that's okay. But it depends on how negotiable your deal breakers are. Because the more non-negotiables you have, the harder your dating life will be.
It's fine to have preferences, but don't let those preferences shut you down.
What you may perceive to be a negative in the beginning may end up being exactly what you wanted.
Really poor grammar.
Gym rats. No, thank you.
If you're taller than me, it's no-go.
They also mentioned being a morning person. I found that is a deal breaker.
You know, somebody might look at this documentary and they're like, oh, this guy probably wants a Jewish girl. But you're intrigued by actually something different. That's what makes dating fun, right?
I would ask women in DC not to wear sneakers with suits in the morning. flats.
Damn heels. God
Wear
damn it.
flats if you're tired of walking, and bring heels to work, not necessarily sneakers.